and then you can all get the recording once you start. So let's go into a detail. So I was saying that the US residency pathway is an amazing pathway, and why it's amazing is because there's really no how will I describe it? It's a fair system. Is what you see is what you get, at least. Much better than looking for house job in Nigeria, in Ghana, or I don't know how it is in other countries. But I remember my house job test. We had like over 600 participants doing the house job test, and they chose like maybe 40. So that was very ridiculous. But this is different. And in Nigeria, you have, and maybe in other countries also, you have like very few positions available for residency, and it's unpredictable. It can come up anytime. Like they could just tell you go to Enugu, yeah, doing a new program, residency is open, apply, you know this person, you know that person. But residency is like it's like a level. Everybody comes in at the same level. Doesn't matter if you're a professor, if you're a new medical graduate, everyone is at the same level. So how can you improve your competitiveness? Because that's what it's all about. Is how competitive can you be for the next match? I said on the group today, we put up on the group a small infographic that shows the participants of residents of medical graduates in the last residency application season. We had about 54% of people that got into the match season that wanted to apply for the match actually got into residency, which is amazing. Very amazing. It's amazing because this is people that did not know anybody special, were just applying, pass the exam. So it's like a fair system. To some extent, it's fair. Some other part of it is not entirely fair. That's the honest truth. There's no beating about the bush. Some programs will not like you because you are from a country that different from theirs. That's their disadvantage. So don't feel bad about that. That's their disadvantage. Avoid such programs. Some programs are I don't want to use the word racist, but I think they tend towards that, kinda. So some programs, you see, if you go on Twitter, there's a lot of agitation about we need to make the residency application season blind to color, blind to background. So a lot of programs say they employ regardless of your background and all that. But the honest truth is that it's not entirely true. A lot of programs want to select US medical graduates. That's the honest truth. And some programs actually, because they've had experience with IMGs from other countries, are more open. So I would advise don't waste time with programs that are like that. Uh-huh. But the honest truth is that you can get into residency. You just need to know what you're going for and don't give up. And every experience that you go through is very important. Don't discard any experience. A lot of people ask me questions like, "What can I do to improve my clinical experience? I think I want to do a paid program, maybe a 4 weeks program, but it's so expensive. It's about $4,000, $3,000, so expensive. Some of them don't even guarantee that you're going to get a letter of recommendation, which is what you're looking for anyway. So I would advise if you don't have that much cash lying low, lying fallow, that you don't, if you can do something better with your money. If you have that flexibility, don't get yourself in a fix where you're looking for money. The most important thing you need to focus on is your scores, and your scores. Just that's the most important thing. That's the honest truth. The most important is your scores, and your scores. And the good news is that step one becomes pass or fail January 26, 2022. Isn't that amazing? So every exam that you take after January is going to be recorded as pass or fail. Remember, step one is not taken in the first 3 weeks in January. So essentially, so everyone taking exams from February are going to be recording their exams as pass or fail. So that's an exciting news because step one is one of the exams that takes so much from you. Like it takes so much from you, and then you're like trying to read, and then you forget the basics again. But I believe that when you prepare for step one, you give yourself the necessary foundation for step two CK, which is now the new battleground, which is where programs will be focused on going forward. And this is where programs will be looking at your scores. And trust me, step two CK, the highest score you can get in step two CK is about 280. So guys, you can do this. So for step 2CK, you can actually aim as high as possible. So give it your best shot. In fact, you can prepare for it in 1 month, in 3 months, in 4 months, But the most important thing is aim for the highest score. See, there's no beating around the bush about this residency pathway. It's as straightforward as this. The scores really, really matter. But if you've done your step one scores, your step two scores, and they are not the best scores really, the other things you can do along the way, the other things you can do. And one of the things you can do is researching into your programs. So let's go back again to the beginning. So let's say you are just graduated from medical school, or you graduated 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, depending on when you graduated, and you want to get into US residency. You are starting fresh, you don't know anything about it. Okay, how do you start? Number one, find out if your school is registered on ECFMG as part of the recognized universities that are recognized to have their graduates or students apply for residence. Not every school is recognized. So for you to know that you're recognized, you go on wdoms.org, then your school will be listed there on that website. And they have to see a part of the list. When you see your school, then you have to find out what it is said about your school. So it has to say something about ECFMG current from social date to current. So showing that your graduate list of that particular school can actually apply for residency. Now, okay. So what do I do next? The next thing you do is to apply for ECFMG certification, which is a straightforward process. You pay about, I think, $145 to apply, and it's really straightforward. Once you apply, you have to do the notary cam. So before, what we used to do was that you fill a form, you download a form after paying, and then you have to send this form to ECFMG, fill it, certify it at your school or at a notary, and then send it. So a notary is like a lawyer who has been recognized. It might be a lawyer or a paralegal that is recognized to certify documents as genuine, authentic. So the person verifies your identity and then sends it to ECFMG. So this process will take a long time, and you have to send it by post to Philadelphia. That was a lot of money then. But now things are easier. COVID is not all bad. COVID actually changed a lot of things about ECFMG application and USMLE. So that's something that you should actually be involved in and should be grateful for. So not everything about COVID is all bad. A lot of things actually change. And some of the benefit of COVID is actually Step 2 CS has been cancelled forever. I miss Step 2 CS because I miss the buffet you have during lunch. But let's go back to what we're talking about. Just joking. So now, when you apply now, what you have to do is you have this electronic notary appointment, I think over Zoom or over an video platform where you have to verify identity with the notary. You schedule an appointment. So it's a straightforward process. You stay with your computer, you have your ID, which is your national passport, and then you verify all the information that you have stated that you have on your ECFMG application. Now, ensure that every information you have on your ECFMG application is the correct information, because mistakes takes a while to correct. So ensure you have the accurate information on ECFMG. Ensure you have your name as it is. So if you change your name as per marriage, that's not a problem. People do that. In fact, I think some males also do that. Now, if you have to change your name, all you have to show is a proof of name change and then your marriage certificate indicating that. So ECFMG is actually very, very flexible, and they are very understanding, and they're responsive most times. At least they try to. And once you do that, the notary now sends your electronic confirmation and everything to ECFMG. So you don't have to upload anything to ECFMG again, as we used to do before. So it's much, much easier now. And then uploading your diploma, your transcript. Before, we used to send it by post from the school. There's still that method, but you can just upload it on the ECFMG platform. There's a website where you can upload it directly to the ECFMG, and then all your school now has to do is to verify that what ECFMG has is authentic. So your school could communicate to ECFMG electronically or via post. So I love when a school communicates electronically because it makes it way, way easier. But also, yeah, your school tries to ensure that you pay your alumni fees. That's what I call it, because they charge you a lot for these services. So some could charge as high as 50, 60, 70. Some could even charge 100 in total. So my school charged, I think, about 40. That was then. And then later on, at the later stage, they asked me to pay something in dollars, which was unexpected. So you have to be prepared for that. So one of the ways to get prepared is to find out who is responsible in your school for this kind of application, ECFMG application. So it's something that if your school has been involved in it for so many years, there are a lot of people that have gone through your school. So don't dwell in a silo. Communicate. Find out from people that have gone ahead. Okay, what's the procedure in Unilag? What's the procedure in maybe your school is in Ghana, wherever your school is? Just find out what the procedure is, and then pay all the necessary fees. Give them your details, your SFMG number, your matric number, everything that they need. Just give them and pay the required amount of money. Okay. Now, once you do that, once the 7 receives the feedback, then they approve you. They say, yes, you are approved for so number of years. And within that period of years, you have to take your USMLE exams. Or if you don't take it, then you have to send in a new approval again. But hopefully you take it within that set of time. So when you take the exam, applying for the exam now is straightforward also. You apply for the exam, you choose an eligibility period. So the eligibility period is like for 3 months. And as I said, the only time you don't take the USMLE is in January, the first 3 weeks in January. Every other month of the year, you can take the USMLE exam. And it's an interesting exam that you have to build endurance for. But we'll talk about preparation in details. Now, currently, for Nigeria, the only place where you can take the exam that is closest to us is in Ghana. Yeah, so it's not in Nigeria. I don't know why. I find that surprised. I want to see the data as to number of people that take the exam in Nigeria and in Ghana. I feel like Nigerian applicants will be more. So I'm wondering why there's no push to get a center in Nigeria, maybe in Lagos, for instance. But it's okay. Ghana, at least you have an opportunity to see the lovely tourist destinations in Ghana and relax after your exam. That's if you can relax. Some people find a lot of tension getting their exam results coming in, but not to worry, you pass and you do well. So now going to Ghana is straightforward. The only part of it is that you have to take the COVID test when you're coming back. So you need to prepare for that cost. Some people say it could be as high as the total cost of this journey might be like 250 or 400,000. So I think something you should prepare for. But find out what the current cost is. Find out what the cost for the exams will be, cost for the application, for the center, the hotel you're going to stay in, how close the hotel is going to be to your venue, and find out if there's Uber service, something that can take you to the hotel or take you to the exam venue. Okay, so that's that on that. Now, once you pass your step one, what is next is your step two CK. Now, your step one is an 8-hour exam. So it's something you need to prepare for. You have 1 hour of break time. And so you can actually schedule your break time into batches. So you could do like 2 blocks, take like 15 minutes break, then take another maybe 30 minutes break after another 2 blocks. Just space yourself. You know yourself better than anybody. So space yourself, get a group to how to prepare for the exam. Don't rush yourself. While you're going towards the preparation of the exams proper, you should be taking a lot of questions, doing a lot of questions towards, let's say, like a 4 weeks exam. Get used to doing a lot of questions. Build that endurance, build that intensity while preparing. Don't wait until, don't like, before the day of the exam, don't like do like an all-nighter, like with coffee and then your eyes is red and then you sleep off in the exam. Please don't do that. Please. Because you only have just one chance. If you pass the exam with a low score, you can't take it again, except if you fail, which is not a good thing on your transcript. So give it your best shot. Rest well before the exam. Drink a lot of water. Pace yourself. Take fruits. Have something, a snack that you're going to take with you. You need something that is rich in carbohydrates and also rich in protein, so that you have satiety and also you have energy for the journey. Okay. So as I say to people, step one preparation is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Same thing with step two CK. So consistency is the most important thing. Consistency. So the bulk of the subjects are divided into pathology, biochemistry, immunology, genetics, pharmacology, physiology. So all these areas, the bulk of it, of course, the 70% or 60% of the course is going to be tested on pathology. So your pathology knowledge has to be very, very sound. So take time to get into pathology. Even if you have like, if for example you have like 1 year to prepare, or 6 months to prepare, or 8 months to prepare, it's important that you build up that residual knowledge. Do something every day, even if it's you're so busy. Let's say you have just 1 hour to spare every day. Ensure you review at least a set of questions, and review a particular set of timetable or guideline they are following for your exams. For people on the prep program, we give them like a set of target to do every two weeks, or every 1 week, as the case may be. So work on something like that. You might need to have a study group, a study body that you are working with, that you can discuss with. Get somebody that you're just that is keeping you on track about this. So don't do like 5 hours today, then do 10 minutes tomorrow, then do 2 hours again. No, don't do that. Be consistent. If you can afford to do 2 hours every day, keep it like that, consistent. Use flashcards. Flashcards are very helpful because they keep you in reminder of what kind of information you absorbed over the night. So it's good to remind yourself of the critical information you learned. So flashcards are also very, very good. So they like it's juggling your memory really. So keep it before you ask questions. You can, even if you have a particular area you think is very important, high yield, you can put it on your wall just to remind yourself of it. Some people find it a bit difficult to master statistics, but it's straightforward. Once you master the basics, you actually, and one of the ways I believe that you can actually do well with preparation is actually trying to teach somebody. Yes, teaching somebody about the USMLE step. For example, let's say you want to teach somebody in microbiology, for instance, that keeps you on track. That helps you to prepare better. That helps you to actually retain more information, because then you have to test what you know, and then using questions also helps you to like, okay, do I really understand this concept? So that's important to always do that. So don't do things in isolation. Do it with a group of people, or with one person or two persons. Have somebody that's keeping you. No, just stay motivated. Stay motivated on this journey. Remember, it's worth it in the end. When you look back, you're like, wow, thank God I made this sacrifice. So it's always worth it in the end. So now, step 2CK is where the battleground is now. Step 2CK is essentially just clinical knowledge. So it's going to cover everything about clinical practice, clinical medicine, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, those things that you guys love the most. So it's easy to prepare for, but it's still tricky. It's tricky because you find people leaving the statistical exam like, wow, I caught them. I gave it to them. Now, when you're feeling like that, sometimes it's not what it is, because the options can be very tricky. It could look like similar. So it's good to always have um, practice a lot of questions, so you find out how the questions can come about. Some questions can have options that look so similar, and you have to find out what, because they're trying to test you as a clinician, like what will you be in practice? Will you be able to know what the next step in management is? Will you be able to know what the diagnosis is? Will you be able to know the critical point of medicine in practice? How will you be a safe medical doctor ready to start residency? So step 2CK is a very, very important exams, and most programs look at step 2CK, especially clinical programs. Maybe for programs like radiology, they might also focus on step 2CK, they might focus on step 1. But now every program will focus on step 2CK, because now step 1 is now pass or fail from January next year. So your step 2CK score is very important. And I know the good thing about this. Preparing for step 2CK, I feel is more like, when you prepare for step 2CK, it helps you as a person. It helps you in your practice. That's the honest truth. When I prepare for my step 2CK, it helps you to practice. You have to know the latest guidelines for management of peptic ulcer, management of diverticulitis, and the likes. So this helps you actually. So if you focus on that, if you focus on I want to improve myself as a medical doctor, then it will take away the burden of I have to prepare, how to pass this exam. So see it as, I'm trying to become a better doctor, I'm trying to become a better clinician. Even for step 1 preparation, just focus on that. When you focus on that, it doesn't even matter how stressful the preparation is. It makes it easier. And guess what? The preparation we have for the preparation materials for step 2CK are not so concentrated as step 1. Step 1, you have a lot of concentrated IU, because that was where the bulk of energy is. Maybe in a few 2-3 years, you have more resources. But the IU resources for step 2CK are not so many, but there are there are things that you can actually do. You have master the boards for step 2, master the board step 3. Some people use that to plug in other missing details in step 2 preparation. Then you also have UWord question bank, which is a very, very good one, which is something that you should start when you've at least had like a 1 month preparation or an overview. So you have like a background knowledge base. Some people use only UWord. Yeah, it depends on you. But it's very important that you have a question bank you're working with. And I'd advise to have at least one question bank. So eventually you should have like 2 question banks as much as possible they are working with, even for step 1 and step 2 CK. So because you have this question fatigue and memorization of answers when you use one question bank. Let's say you do word in one sitting or first aid in one sitting, and you want to do it in second sitting. By the time you're doing the exam, the questions again, it's not really testing your knowledge or understanding. It's not testing your recall of the options. So you're not really testing yourself. But if you use a different question bank, that changes your perspective and helps you to actually find out if you really, really master the concept. Because step 1, step 2 CK, USMLE pattern of asking questions is all about how much you can understand the concept. It's not about la cram la pour. There's some part of it like that. But essentially, it's all about how much you can apply information, how much you can understand and also be able to apply to the next question that's before you. So now we are done with step 2. So step 1, the pass mark for step 1, I don't know if you still need that, but eventually if you're taking your step 1 this year, is 194. Of course, I don't expect anybody to be scoring that. But the average is about 220 thereabout. So of course you should aim for 240, 230, 250 as much as possible. Now step 2 CK passing score is about 209, if I'm correct. The average score is around 230 to 240. So for you, for step 2 CK, please aim for at least 250. Yes, aim for 250. In fact, aim for 260. Yes. I know for you to get 260, 250, it means that you're scoring at least 85 to 90% on every block of questions you solve. So until you start doing that, don't take the exam yet. And some people ask me, when do I know when I'm ready to take the exam? When is the best time to take the exam? The best time to take the exam is when you're done well on your MBME. Your MBME it gives you a score prediction and it gives you an assessment of the readiness for the exam. So take the current MBME when you're close to your exam, maybe like you're 2 months out, take the most current MBME and find out how ready you are before you schedule your exam as much as possible. I know it's not so easy, but it's good to always, you have a scheduling permit which runs for 3 months. You can extend it by 1 extra 3 months, as the case may be. But it's always important to do an MBME to find out, okay, I think I'm breaking again. Okay, can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, just indicate. Okay. So maybe it's a network problem. I think we're back. Okay, thank you so much. So now for the NBME is about I think $60. So it's something that you can actually do. You can actually get it done. Some people have offline NBMEs, but I advise that for the most current NBME, don't use the offline. Please use the online. So if you cannot afford to have maybe to do 2, 3, 4 NBMEs, 60 times 4, maybe the most current MBME, ensure you do it online as much as possible because that will give you the most USMLE type of questions. Because USMLE questions are changing because of this new move of making medicine more about um, clinical improvement, patient safety, professionalism, ethics. So these are taking more priority now in the exams, and the style of questions are going to be coming around more towards these kind of areas. So those kind of used to talk about the non-physical part of medicine. There's a physical part of clinical skills, able to bring out information. But people are looking at you that as a resident, will you be a good team player? You get about people in medical school who are very, very good, but they can't even sustain the conversation for 2 minutes. All those things, resident directors don't like that because they want someone that they can align with, someone that they can flow with. So if you have a part of yourself, you can work on yourself now. Find out what are the things that you can do to make yourself a team player, make yourself a very, very valuable person of the team, bring things to the table, don't be argumentative, don't be combative, be nice to people, be courteous. These are things that they look out for in residency application. How nice you are, what are the things you've overcome. So they ask you questions like, what are the things you've overcome in the past, how did you overcome this problem and all that. So that we're getting ahead of ourselves. But it's good for you to just know that. So step one and step two CK will have more of these kind of questions: quality improvement, patient safety, ethical issues, and all that. So now we're done with step two CK. Aim for the best score, give it your best. Now, step two CS is off thanks to COVID. Because before now, for you to take the step two CS exam, you have to get a US visa, go to like about I think 5 or 6 states in the US where you can take the exam. And trust me, scheduling the step two CS exam was an exam on its own. It was difficult because you are like trying to like wake up at 12 a.m. to book appointment because appointments are filling up so fast because some people prefer to do appointments in places like Houston, places like California. They don't want to come to Philadelphia because they feel like they mark them so strongly. So, but now step two CS off the table, off the table. Wow, I'm sure some people are so happy. Well, step two CS exam was about 1,500 US dollars. Now, when I heard about the news that step two CS is off, I thought that, oh, now we're going to pay less for exams. But USMLE said, oh, gotcha, and said, we're going to introduce the pathways. You see, these people are so smart. They introduced the pathways, and now the pathways involve for Nigerians and other places that are not in the US, Ghanaians, other Africans. What they're looking for now is that they want you to do the OET medicine. The OET medicine is like an English exam for medical doctors or nurses, health practitioners. So people actually applying to the UK have actually done this exam as part of their certification and all that. So, and if you have done the exam before, maybe 2018 and all that, you actually can still use it, which is amazing. Now, the OET exam, it's actually very pricey. I think last time I checked was about maybe 150,000 there. So it's like times two of the IELTS exam, which is interesting. So you have that on the table. Now, the pathways they now identified now, you have about 6 pathways. But the pathways that concerns you the most is the license pathway. So which means if you have been licensed to practice medicine unsupervised, so that means you finish your house job. Okay, we're back. Sorry, we had a network challenge, but we're back now. Hope you can hear me now. That was just a temporary network. Thank you. So as I said, now we're talking about the application season and the step two CK and the OET medicine. So the OET medicine is an interesting exam. It's just like IELTS. You have listening, reading, writing, speaking. And the amazing thing is that there are a lot of free resources to prepare for the OET medicine. A lot of free resources. So you can actually prepare very well for it. So don't even take chances about it. The passing mark is grade B. So you have to have at least a grade B or score of 350 on all the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So don't take chances. Prepare well. There are a lot of free resources on the OET website. I could post links also on this page if you want. So please prepare well for the OET medicine. Don't take chances with it. Don't just say, oh, don't worry, I'll be fine. Just give it your best shot. And you can actually start it anytime. You can do it before your step 2CK or whenever you're free to do it. And remember, the last day to do it will be December 2021 if you're applying this year. But please don't do it at December 2021. Please and please, you're an IMG. don't take such chances. Americans can do that, or people that are in medical school in the US, they can do that. But you don't take such chances. Please give it your best shot. Try to take it before August as much as possible if you are going to be applying this year. So also for next year, same thing. So all your scores, everything is in before the September date of application. So let's keep that in mind. So the OET medicine is that's also called. So the pathways, you have the first pathway, which is the one that concerns you, which is you having a medical license to practice medicine unsupervised. That's after your internship. That's how most people get their unsupervised license. So that's something that is available for you to use And for you to do that, you need a letter of good standing from your medical regulations. So that will be MDCN. You need a letter of good standing. And the last time I checked, I think it costs about 70,000 naira to apply for it. So I think you should budget about 100,000 because it's Nigeria or whatever country it is. It's good to just prepare your mind for that. And then because you might need to find out somebody that's dead and all that, and all that. So, okay, on a lighter note, if you are in Nigeria and you're applying for the letter of good standing, remember you must be up to date with your what do you call it now? Your current license, up to date with your license payment, and also your building levy. Yes, please don't joke with your building levy. Please pay your building levy 20,000 naira. It's not such a bad money, yeah, but it's painful. But just a lighter note. So please pay your building levy because your letter of good standing will not be out if you don't pay your building levy. So just get out of the way. It's just 20,000, please. Just get out of the way. Don't let that disturb you from leaving this lovely country and practicing the US. Yes, and they're coming back to give back to Nigeria, which is bringing. So now you've done your building levy and you've paid your licenses up to date. Then you just apply for the OET for the letter of good standing. You can apply that on your dashboard on MDCN, and then you also need to follow up. Nigeria, even though they say everything's online, you still have to do offline follow up. So please follow up on offline. Find out somebody maybe in Abuja office or in Lagos office that will help you process it to come out on time. So ideally, they're meant to send an email to ECFMG, which will be the best thing, and I hope they will do that. So that will make it very, very easy for you. Now, if you have been licensed in UK for the GMC license, for example, license in Australia, AMC, you can also use that to apply for USMLE as part of, you can use that as one of the pathways. So that also makes it easier for you. So it's like a win-win situation. So also if you're applying for the UK and you have completed your USMLE exams, you can also use that to apply to the UK. So you see, COVID has done a lot of awesome things, isn't it? So you have like a seamless. So even though you're going for one pathway, you're not missing out on both in that sense. But I think that covers to the exams maybe before a certain date. But that just for you to have that information in hand. And so you're done with the OET medicine. Applying for the pathways costs $900. So I told you ECFMG collects their money back. So you see that if you look at it now, the 1.5 is already of step 2 CS is back again. So Americans, white people, black people, they are very smart. So they got their money back. So yeah, so it's good to have the idea of how much it will cost you. And I calculated the exams, OET, and the pathway to be about 4,000 US dollars. So that comes to about 2 million naira based on the recent exchange rate, which is amazing. Okay. Now, on a side note, to bypass, okay. So currently now, a lot of, if you're traveling, maybe for your clinical experience, you can actually apply for a personal travel allowance, and you are not going to be charged as much at this kind of exchange rate for your personal travel allowance. I think it's about, maybe you can apply for $2,000, and then you can use that to save up instead of you exchanging money at a very high rate. So that's on the, like, if you're traveling and you need a personal travel allowance, most banks are doing that right now. Okay, let's move on. So applying for residency now, please and please research your programs. Don't apply blindly, my people. Please don't apply blindly. Don't waste thousands of dollars. So let me give an idea of how it is. So applying for the residency itself, with once you are done with all this, ECFMG will send you a certificate that you're ECFMG certified. And trust me, your ECFMG certificate looks better than your medical school certificate. Yes, it looks better. It's very lovely. So now you are certified, ECFMG certified now, once you completed all these pathways. And exams, OET pathways about 4,000 USD. Now applying for the ERAS itself, the ERAS token is out this June. And I think it's about ERAS token, NRMP. NRMP is the company that does the match itself. So the ERAS token is like, it's for you to even apply to the programs. But the NRMP is the one that takes care of the match itself, matching you into different programs based on your interviews and all that. So now the ERAS, NRMP, everything all together, USMA transcript is going to be about $350 US. That will cost about $350 US. Now, once you pay all that money, applying to the programs now, based on each specialty you apply to, you have 10 programs. If you apply for 10 programs, it's going to cost you $99 US. apply to 11 to 20 programs. After those 10 programs in that specialty, you're going to pay $16 per program. So that'll be about 160 US dollars for applying to another 10 programs. Now, if applying to another 10 programs after that, as per Oliver Twist, you have 21 to 30 programs. They're going to pay about $20 per program. So that's about $200. So if you are so amazingly rich and you want to apply again, you're going to be paying $26 per program after those 30 programs. So that's going to be about under $260. So that's just an overview of applying per program. So what some people do is they try to distribute their programs across specialties, but don't do that too much because remember, you can't use a letter of recommendation for family medicine and use it for surgery. In fact, that's like a huge ton. When they see that, this person is not focused. So please, if you're going to be applying to different specialties, keep it to at least a maximum of three specialties as much as possible. But if you cannot do that, then keep it like programs that are streamlined along the same. So let's say family medicine, internal medicine, those are still comparable. Pediatrics, neurology, general surgery, that's already getting distinct. But you have to have letters of recommendation specific to those specialties you're applying to. At least have three letters of recommendation ready. And if you're applying this is the best time to start sending your CV to your letter writers and telling them that you plan to apply, and you want them to write a letter of recommendation for you. Find out the guidelines of how the letter should be written. Don't let them write he's such a good boy, such a good girl, very, very participating in class. That doesn't stand out. So every letter must stand out. Your letter must stand out. It has to be something. This person must be able to relate a personal experience of how he worked with you. Oh, this guy was a very phenomenal member of our internal medicine team. One of these days, he was able to distinguish between DKA and HHS by just smelling the breath of the patient. That just enlightened. But that just shows you that you're clinical, attentive to clinical medicine. You're a very, very excellent doctor. Or maybe a surgical person is telling you, oh, this guy is so punctual. Was able to stop us from having a surgical site infection by ensuring we did a proper prep of the patient before the start of the procedure and all that and all that. I'm just giving an overview of something that shows that this person really knows you and saw you actively in practice. Because that's what the letter is all about. However, some of these paid programs are not really the best because this person really, really do you really have enough time to actually have hands-on with them? So it's better to have somebody that you had hands-on experience with. So this could be a professor in school or your current job. So I advise people, if you are going to be applying for pediatrics, for instance, okay, we're back again. If you're going to be applying for pediatrics, for instance, then that means if you're a medical officer, for instance, then your medical officer jobs has to be very, very intentional. Don't just choose any medical officer job. Choose jobs that are focused on pediatric hospitals. Yes, there are pediatric specific private hospitals in different states. And you can actually find there are some hospitals that actually, even though they're not pediatric focused, but they have a huge number of pediatric patients coming to that place. So, of course, if you're applying for OBGYN, if you're working in Lagos Island maternity, in fact, everybody wants to grab a piece of because that place has I don't know how many labor cases they have every night. So you have huge amount of hands-on experience that you can actually somebody can write a letter to verify for. So if you are interested in general surgery, you can go to a place, you can go as high as going to Baptist Medical Center I think it's in Ogbomoso now. That's a very, very good surgical program, which is hands-on. So you need to be intentional with everything you're doing going forward. You're applying for residency, please be intentional. Every clinical experience you have, don't say, oh, because it's Nigeria, let me just wait. I don't need to have it. No, you can take it serious, please. Every experience that you have in Nigeria also is valid, yes. Because for instance, if you're in residency in Nigeria, that's very good. That's very good. Don't drop out of residency. Keep at it. Keep going for it because that also counts for you. They will ask you when you're applying for residency what kind of experience you've had. If you have been in a residency program, who's your supervisor? To ask you this question, this actually stands you out because remember, you're applying. For example, now let's say you have you're applying to a program that has about 7 residents every year. It takes in 7 residents every year. Guess how many people apply to such programs? If a program is in New York, for instance, you could have 2,000 people or 4,000 people applying to the same program. So How are you going to stand out of 4,000 people? What will make you stand out? Your scores, your letters of recommendation, your personal statement. But the first thing is your scores. If your scores are not so good, then your letters of recommendation has to be good, and your personal statement has to be excellent. Now, take out time to write your personal statement. Take out time to ask people about it. I think last 2 years I had a colleague on the group who actually sent me, okay, he wants me to review his personal statement, and I was able to help him rephrase it, adjust it, and it was like people actually asked him questions about his personal statement, like, wow, how did you, because it's just about all about giving your what you've done, giving value to what you've done, because you've actually done it. For example, some people, you sell yourself short when you're talking about your experience. For instance, I tell ask people, talk about your past job experience. Then they say, I rotated in medicine, surgery, pediatrics, OBGYN. That's all. Really? Come on, you did more than that. You need to put more value into what you did. When you're in medicine, imagine the amount of emergency calls you had, imagine the amount of patients you saved, imagine the amount of errors you prevented. Those are things you talk about. While I was in medicine, I was able to start a program on uh, drug compliance amongst hypertensive patients. I was able to improve the average score or average BP measurements to reduce amongst hypertensives by ensuring that they are compliant, by sending daily reminders to them, or by giving them this little, this little drug plastics that shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that was able to make them compliant. That's something that's is a very good initiative to say. If you're interested in psychiatry, for instance, you could talk about how you're able to start a mental health um, program or project that was able to reduce the amount of suicide attempts in your community based on your intervention. So that things you talk about. How was your impact on that team? That's what people want to know. I don't want to know that you rotated through this. No, it's good to know that. But what did you do? What impact did you make in that program while you're there? That's what is very, very important to focus on your personal statement and also in your CV and also in anything you're saying during the interview. Now, once you're applying, it's important that you research your programs. Now, I'm going to type this program, this website. It's called Residency Explorer org. So please go there, put in your ECFMG details. You can actually log in, put in everything if you're already registered, and then you can put in your profile, your step one score, step two CK score, your research experience, your clinical experience. Then you can now choose the programs you want to and find out how you compare with previous successful applicants. So it rates you based on your profile and how previous applicants also rated. So let's say, for instance, sorry, previous applicants had an average score of 220 and your score is 240, so it's going to rate you high. So that way you can have an idea of how competitive that program is and if you're a good fit for that program. So if you notice that most of the programs you're choosing you have to choose programs that you appear very competitive for. So it shows you how competitive you are. Don't apply for programs that are low in competitiveness unless you hear a word from God that says go and apply. So don't just waste your money, please. Find out, do a very thorough research into every program. Remember, this thing is money. You don't want to waste all your money on applying for programs. You have the time now between now and September to apply, to research into programs. And you find a program that has a graduate of your school who is also part of the residents. Oh, that's a jackpot. So that means they've had an experience with that graduate and they're happy with him or her. So that means they will also look favorably on you. Yes, so apply for such programs where your alumni are also in those programs. So those are kind of programs that you do well in. And what other things do I need to include? Interviews. Now, once you apply September 1, you put in all your details and on the ERAS platform and you log in, put in all those details. And then September 15, programs will have access to everything you've put in. So no matter what time you put it on September 1 to September 15. So you say you started September 1 or you started September 14, but don't wait till September 14, please. Don't procrastinate. Start working on your programs every day. Don't certify it until you're very sure. Of course, we'll talk about that in further details as we get closer to the application season. Now, once you do all that, all the programs will see your programs coming, will see your application coming at the same date at the same time if you apply before September 15. Now, if you apply after September 15, everything will come in showing the particular dates that it came in. So that's that. Now, why is it important to apply early? It's very, very important because you're an IMG. So don't waste time. Don't apply in October. Don't apply in November. It's possible you can get picked, but don't take such chances. Try and apply as early as possible if you can afford it. Now, some people say, should I just apply even if I don't have everything ready? No, don't do that. Apply when you have everything ready as much as possible, because some programs have been actually found out that they actually have filters. So some people actually filter your application even without seeing you. They filter you based on number of applications. Can you imagine that? Number of attempts of applications, number of attempts on exams, number of country of origin, which is sad. So for things like that, apply when you are sure you have everything ready. I spoke to one of the colleagues also applying soon. She says she's not ready to apply now because she wants to go for a master. She wants to improve herself, improve her profile because she knows what she's aiming for. So sometimes you might need to do that if you know what you're aiming for. So, for example, you're going for neurosurgery. I was joking with somebody on Twitter. I said, look at this. There was a neurosurgery program that put up their new incoming residents, and all of them had MD, PhD, MD, PhD. Now, you will not carry yourself. I finished from the first and the best. I finished from Unilag. I'm going to apply for this neurosurgery program because I'm a neurosurgeon. I read Ben Carson from cover to cover. No, please don't do that. You can't get a PhD in neuroscience because you can see what even though they don't say that on their website, but you can look at the profile of their residents that they are applying, they are picking PhD graduates, so they know what they are doing. So if you are interested in that program, then go for a PhD as much as if that's what you're passionate about, of course. So plot a profile, have a career pathway you're following, and go for it. So whatever program you have, just go for it. Now that's that on that. We're going to be taking questions very soon. So let me just round up on this. And so when you apply for programs, the next thing that comes up is interviews. So you're going to get interviews. They're going to You might get one interview, you might get 10 interviews, you might get 20 interviews. I mean, now because of COVID, we don't have to travel for interviews again, which is amazing. So it's COVID did a lot of good things. So we don't have to travel for interviews again. You can do most interviews now virtually, which is awesome. So most interviews are going to be done virtually, maybe on Zoom. So it's important that you have a very good picture of yourself and dress appropriately, dress in your lovely suit, ask questions, find out about the program beforehand, engage with them. Don't get distracted. Have a stable internet. In fact, get a router. Don't get you can get a small MiFi for that interview session once you have an interview. Get a place that you're not going to be distracted. Have a stable um, power supply and all that. So that's that on that. And ask questions. It's amazing that some people don't even research about their program directors when they're applying. Why not? Research about program, find out what their research interest is, find out what's about them, ask questions from them, ask different things you can ask and all that. So that's something we can delve into later on. But this is just an overview. So once they choose you and they say we're going to pick you, it doesn't mean you have gotten to the program yet, except they offer you a pre-match position. So you start going to the match. The match is that everybody will rank their applicants based on how they feel that they love them. So, and then you two will also rank programs that interview that. Now, the computer would match those kind of rankings. I don't know how it does that. It's an amazing algorithm, but there's a video about that shows how it does that. So then it matches you, and then you get the message and says you are matched. An awesome message, and then people rejoice, throw a lot of. So soon that will be your story, and that's my goal. How to ensure that that's your story. So now I'm going to be taking questions. I'm going to take a break. So if you're going to have a question, you could type it, or you could just unmute yourself and ask. Thank you so much for participating today, and thank you for listening. So do you have any question? You could just indicate by raise of hand. Can you raise your hand? There? I'm not sure you can do that, but you can just unmute yourself. I'll put know how to unmute ourselves. Okay, I think I've removed that so it's easier for us to ask questions. Okay. Okay. I hope you can all hear me. Is somebody asking a question? Anyone? Anybody asking a question? Or typing a question? Or I just Okay, if you want me to unmute you, just indicate on the chat, then I'll unmute you. I think I can unmute from this end. Let me try. Yes, I can unmute. Yeah, I can unmute. So, okay, somebody asked now. Thank you so much, Babalala, for your question. It says, what do you think about going from PLAB to USMLE? I think that's is a good idea. I have two people now. I think about three people that are actually doing that. They are currently in the UK. They are practicing, and they want to go to the US. So yeah, because the UK is a very very amazing system. It's easy to get into compared to USMLE. I mean, all you have to do is to pass the PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, and then you're in. Yeah, like in fact, I'm sure the NHS trust are like just in for you. People are trying to recruit you and onto you. I know a lot of people are giving you a lot of opportunity to come over to the UK and practice. So yes, it's a good experience to have. So you can do that. Yes, you can do that. You can use that to raise funds, and you can also do that to also gain experience in your particular specialty of interest. So it's something, if you're interested in emergency medicine, that means you're working towards the emergency room, emergency department in the UK trust. That'll be your focus. You're interested in geriatrics, medicine, and all that and all that. So as the case may be, just choose one that suits your experience so that that will count for you when you're applying for the USMLE. So of course that shows good on your CV when you're applying that you've had a experience in the UK medical system which is comparable to the US. So yes, that's a good one. Okay, any other question? So if you want to ask any question, just unmute yourself and then okay. So no one has another question before we round up. Okay, for research programs, yes, research counts definitely. Research counts, especially for academic programs that are in universities. So your research actually matters. If you have a research in a particular specialty, I think if you have a research in a, if you don't have like a specific research, for example, if you are applying for pathology and your research is in, I'm trying to think of something that is very extreme. Your research is in pediatrics, uh, taking care of. Yeah, I think you can apply depending on what the topic area is. If it's something that is general, that can actually be applied across broad. But as much as possible, try to keep your research within that specialty. You, of course, you can do a lot of research that is cross-platform, cross-programs. So yes, research is important, and research doesn't have to be like a randomized control trial. You can do a case report, you can do a case write-up, you can do a case series, you can do a systemic review. You can just, even if it's a journal quote or something, you can even write something online, maybe on Medium, and put it on your CV. It could be about how to prevent urinary tract infections or whatever it is. You could do a lot of things like that. So get active with writing. That shows you that you're very academic and you're also, you'll be a good fit for the program. Yes. So yes, research is good. Any other question? So if you have any other further questions that you want to ask, anything you're not clear about, just send an email to Beezers consult at gmail.com. I'll put that on the group. So you could send me an email and then I'll respond to you. Okay. So there's no questions. Are we good? Everybody's clear? Can we end the meeting today? So what do you do next now? What I advise you to do next is to plot a pathway for yourself, plot a journey for yourself, have a goal, and matching. You can put it on your status updates, on your profile. You can put it on your phone. I'm matching in 2022. I'm matching 2023. That means you're working towards that goal, and you need to ask yourself, how many months will it take me to get to that goal? What do I need to get ready? And don't mind how the journey might not be straightforward, might not be clear, might be a windy road, but the most important thing is to know they are going for a particular goal in mind. And I used to tell people 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you will look back to this decision, you'll be grateful for it. So don't give up. Remember that a lot of people count on that decision, generations count on it. So don't give up. Don't let what is happening in your current home country get you distracted and get discouraged. You're actually a very, very brilliant doctor. You're actually an excellent doctor. And you'll notice that when you start practicing in the US, because you will see that your opinions count now, and you see that treatment, your patients are recovering from sepsis, and your patients are recovering from stroke, are recovering from terrible things that you could not, you were like helpless in your home country. So that gets you also encouraged and about and all of that. So thank you all for participating in this meeting. And if this has been if this has been helpful to you, just send a feedback on the group chat. And thank you so much. And do have a lovely, lovely day. And I will send the recording on the group also. Thank you so much for participating. Enjoy the rest of your day.